Hey everyone! Today we're going to make a quick and easy stir fry with bitter gourd or Peria. This super easy dish comes together in no time at all and is perfect for lazy days at home. We have a whole bunch of bitter gourd growing in our garden at the moment, and this is one of our favorite ways to cook with them. If you've never had bitter gourd before, you may have guessed it, they're really bitter. This puts off a lot of people from truly enjoying this vegetable, but it's actually a way to reduce the bitterness so it's not so overpowering. To prep these veggies, we first need to cut them in half and scoop out all the seeds. They're sometimes red little pods or brown. It depends on the variety of the bitter gourd. And oh, fun fact, they're also called bitter melon in some places. If you have a garden, don't throw away the seeds and try planting them. Next, we're going to very finely slice the bitter gourd into super thin pieces. This recipe requires 4 small bitter gourds or 2 large ones. As always, the recipe will be in the description box below so you can see the exact quantities and ingredients we need. Once we reach the very end, discard the tiny little stem. Now here comes the really interesting part. We're going to soak the bitter gourd in salted water, so get a large bowl. Gather all the sliced bitter gourd and place them into it. Then sprinkle in a generous amount of salt. This is about 1 tablespoon. We're going to pour in enough water to cover everything. Make sure to stir the slices around to disperse the salt evenly throughout the bowl. Let the bitter gourd soak in the salted water for a minimum of 15 minutes, but the longer the better. The salt will draw out all of the bitter juices and leave it with a more subtle flavor that's less shocking on our taste buds. While it's soaking, we can slice some red onions and garlic. For this recipe, we need 4 red onions and 5 cloves of garlic. And that's the only thing we have to cut really. See, I told you it was easy. Before cooking, drain the bitter gourd and rinse thoroughly. Into a shallow pot, pour in 1 tablespoon of oil. Add all the sliced onions in along with 3 red chilies. I'm leaving them whole, but you can cut them if you want the dish to be spicier. Saute the aromatics until the onions are fragrant and have turned translucent. Then we can add the garlic in. Garlic slices tend to burn faster than onions, so it's best to cook the onions first and then add the garlic in later. Once the aromatics have a touch of color on them, we can add in the bitter gourd slices. It looks like a lot now, but don't worry, they will shrink as they cook. Keep the heat on medium-high as you stir fry the vegetables. If you're using a non-stick pan, be sure to scrape the bottom now and again to keep anything from sticking. At this stage, we can season with some salt to taste and add a vegetable stock cube or mushroom seasoning or MSG. As you can see, the bitter gourd has shrunk a lot and some of the thinner slices have become translucent. This Peria Goreng recipe is usually made with eggs, but to keep it vegan, we're going to use silken tofu. But you could also use just egg or any other vegan egg replacer. I've also got a vegan omelette recipe that will be perfect for this. I'll link it up here so you can go check it out if you like. Break the silken tofu up into chunks and mix it around with the bitter gourd until it's all well combined. It really does look like egg, doesn't it? The water from the silken tofu will fuse together with the bitter gourd to make a sort of eggy sauce. Lastly, sprinkle 2 teaspoons of turmeric powder or freshly grated turmeric and watch as the entire dish turns a pretty orange color. That's pretty much all we have to do for this stir fry. Once the bitter gourd is done to your liking, it's ready to be plated. I like leaving mine with a bit of bite, so it's still a bit crunchy, but feel free to cook it until it's very soft. Serve the bitter gourd on a bed of hot white rice. And for the final touch, sprinkle a little bit of kala namak or black salt. This will give the whole dish an eggy aroma that will make it taste just like the non-vegan version. And that's our bitter gourd stir fry or Peria Goreng done. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love this recipe right here, so click on it right now and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.